David Davis, the MP for Halton Price and Howden. Good morning.
Good morning.
Firstly, I mean, we'll talk about the media coverage in a moment, but firstly, your reaction to Wednesday afternoon's murder on the streets of London.
Well, clearly it's a barbaric attack, and one must feel enormous compassion for the man who was the victim and his family. But the simple truth is that the right description of this attack is barbaric. It's not. People talk about Islamist and other things. It's barbarism we're talking about here.
What about the security services? I mean, clearly you can't keep an eye on everybody all of the time who's on a list who may have said something extreme at some point, but should they have done more? Should they have known more?
Well, we don't know yet. I mean, there is no doubt an issue to be addressed in that both these people were on their radar and were missed, as indeed was Mohammed Siddiqui Khan and others in the 7/7 bombing. The difficulty here is the agencies are now monitoring thousands of people, and they habitually classify them as basically persons of interest, persons who are a current threat, and those who are not. And I'm afraid they got this one wrong. I mean, whether it was avoidable, that's another matter, but they got it wrong. So they have to go back and look at how well they've done this, and that's in fact exactly what the Intelligence and Security Committee, the House of Commons, is actually going to undertake. It's already started, in fact.
Is there now a danger that if there are other similar people watching this, they might think they may have had a similar plan? We knew there was a plan in Birmingham some 5 years ago, a similar plan, that they may now do this. They may be copycats. They may now carry out their own attacks.
Yeah, of course there's that danger, and it's extremely difficult to handle. I mean, the simple truth is, I mean, you hear all this talk amongst the security community about the fear of lone wolf killers, and what that means is somebody who's not tied into the organisation, the international organisation of Al-Qaeda and the other terrorist allies it has. And because of that, you can't track them by the usual methods. I mean, the usual methods involve surveillance, interception, bugging, that sort of thing. You can't do that if they, as it were, think the thing up in their own bedroom, go out and buy some kitchen knives and carry it out. There is very little you can do, except a little bit of prediction, knowing people who are naturally, as it were, not naturally is the wrong word, who are previously predisposed towards this. But at the end of the day, this means the risk will go up, which means other methods have to be used. I mean, for example, in the context of Woolwich, there will be questions asked pretty soon about why there was not an armed guard at the front of the barracks, because remember, the last terrorist event was not actually 7/7. It was in Northern Ireland when the remnants of the old IRA, I forgot what they call themselves now, Continuity or Reality IRA, shot some soldiers, and this is not new. So you're going to have to go in for some what you might think of as passive security for soldiers, and that's the only way to deal with that until you actually find the people who are trying to do it.
Well, let's just briefly now finish talk about the media coverage of events in Woolwich. I mean, I see now the Daily Mirror's website this morning. You can actually see the moment where one of the suspects runs over to a police car. You then see him being shot. So you can actually see the suspects being shot. It seems to be video taken from a block of flats. And, of course, there was the pictures we've seen on all the TV news programmes and the papers of the suspect waving a knife. What do you make of the media coverage of this?
Well, I don't like it. I'm old-fashioned in the sense I think it's tasteless, but the simple truth is that with so many phone cameras and cameras around today, such footage will end up on the web in any event. And we've known it of old. I mean, after all, there were the hideous beheading footages that appeared on the web after some of the terrorist events in the Middle East. So it's going to end up on the web. So at the end of the day, I suspect we're going to see newspapers carrying on their own websites. I don't like it. I don't approve of it. But the simple truth is, I suspect it's what's going to happen, and there's no way of avoiding it. I mean, can I raise a rather more, what seems to be a very pertinent issue too? And that is, there's been a deal of talk in the last few days about, we should introduce more interception, more telephone monitoring, the so-called Snoopers Charter. One of the things that we shouldn't do in all of this is overreact and damage our own way of life. Those sorts of proposals, Snoopers Charter, monitoring people, putting control orders and so on, would not have stopped this. What would have stopped this, or could have stopped this, was really good policing and really good intelligence work. It didn't manage it on this occasion, but let's not give up the things that we treasure, as it were, our own freedoms, to try to prevent something which may at the end of the day not be preventable.
All right, thank you for your time, David Davis, the MP for Halton, Price and Howden. Just back to the